happening in the wide world of technology? Stuff Magazine Editor Toby Shapshak fills us in on the latest. Toby?
Well, actually, this morning it's unwired because a very big story broke yesterday, that Telkom is transitioning its prepaid customers from their old copper network to their mobile network, and that they've made quite good progress with this. Now, I've experienced this with my mother. My mother, she's not on prepaid, but she, instead of using copper, the copper system, the old copper system, which often gets stolen, she's using Telkom Mobile, and it's fantastic. She has a telephone, looks like a normal telephone, but it's actually just a cell phone. But it could be a cell phone that does. You could use it as a hotspot as well. This it looks like a kind of office desk phone. And it's a very clever idea from Telkom, because we live in an age where mobile networks are as good as traditional cabled copper wire networks. So Telkom transitioning those users to a different network is a brilliant idea. And I've watched this, my mother's telephone line would be out of action for weeks, sometimes, certainly days, whenever the cables got stolen. And now she's effectively got a cell phone, but it's fixed mobile is the way it's referred to.
I mean, I must tell my mum, because where she stays, it's been about a year and a half that she hasn't had a phone.
Fantastic. I mean, it says something, unfortunately, about the fixed line business that you and I are speaking about, our parents, our mothers, using an old network. I haven't had a landline for years. I don't put a landline on my business card. I mean, I think we live in a mobile age.
It's equivalent of a fax, isn't
it? Exactly. Although it would be really amusing to get a fax these days, wouldn't it? So clever idea from Telkom, and very good thinking of how to get around this stolen cable problem, which is just never going to go away. People see value in stealing copper wire. I guess it's copper wire is going to live on in history in beautiful baskets instead.
And the rollout of this, I mean, what sort of time frame?
They've started saying it's happening now, and they're going to start transitioning people. So in the near future, very, very clever initiative, I think, and solves a perennial problem for them. It costs them hundreds of millions of rands every year to replace the copper network. They're just transitioning to mobile, and they have a very good mobile network. My mother has no idea, unless I told her, that her phone is actually a cell phone that's just sitting on the desk. Very handy.
A nice big one. And then the BMW i3, what's happening there?
Well, this is the future of driving, isn't it? The future of automobiles is electric, and I've been testing this really quite remarkable BMW i3. I mean, it is quite something. You can see it. It's quite compact. I like it because it's small and compact, but it has amazing power, Jane. I have to admit that I was a bit of a boy racer. I pulled up next to a friend of mine driving one, like two Jewish boys in our 40s racing up Call Drive.
Revving.
And he beat me.
Oh, really?
He was driving the i3. This is the second version of it. You get about 250 kilometers to the tank. It's quite remarkable in terms of its actual power. But what's interesting is that if you look at it as a car, it's a luxury car. It's a BMW. It's everything inside it is slick and beautiful, but it has no drivetrain, so it has no engine. You open the bonnet, and the bonnet has a big place to store the cables that you use to charge it. The whole of the bottom of the boot is the battery. It's the evolution of the electronic engine, of the petrol engine into the electronic engine, and the number of moving parts in an electric car is significantly less. Therefore, significantly less things to go wrong, significantly less things to maintain. You don't have to, change the spark plugs. So the experience of driving the car, which is what I always think matters to people more than, the nuts and bolts and how many horsepower, and no one knows what that means. The experience of driving it is fantastic.
Just tell me briefly. I mean, obviously, this is not going to go down well in the Middle East, is it? This kind of car?
No. But this is.
but how much?
I think it starts about $650 for this model. There's another model that has a
which is actually not bad, right?
No, not bad.
What we would imagine.
That's what you pay for a mid-range, high-end car in the market. The fascinating thing is that it's silent. So the quite remarkable thing is that the only real noise is the friction of the tires on the road as you drive. I mean, the engine itself is silent. In fact, in some in some European countries, they want to bring in legislation where they want electric cars to actually make a noise.
I was going to say, I mean, you're crossing the street, yeah, exactly, especially looking at your phone.
Exactly. You know, you don't actually hear the car coming. But the interesting thing is that it's the second generation of this car, and you see the slickness of the way it all works. You connect your phone to the internal system. All of your phone stuff pops up on a little screen. You can adjust it, you can talk to it, you can make phone calls, you can use Siri, or you can use Google Voice if you're on Windows or Android. It's interesting how the car has become an extension of the phone, or extension of the functionality. Instead of, you can use the mapping technology.
Cue phone ringing.
Yes, you can use the mapping technology in the phone, or you can use Google Maps or Apple Maps, and it puts it all up there for you.
We're going to have to leave it there.
Listening to Spotify or podcasts. It's really fascinating.
Sexy little thing, hey?
Yeah, indeed.
Toby, thank you.